Fnaf has had many games over the years. However, there is one that sets the stage of how each game will be in the future. Fnaf 2. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Now, much like the first game, Fnaf 2 uses the cams and the point of view of staying in one place to survive. However, it's put to the max, and I say this as instead of 5 animatronics, we have 11 this time around, but also we have the introduction to 2 new factors. To use a mask to hide from animatronics whenever they appear into your office, and to wind up a music box to keep the puppet at bay. Now, with all these mechanics in mind, the main objective of surviving to 6 AM still remains, and stays that way all the way until Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator. Now, Fnaf 2, however, makes it more difficult to survive to 6 AM as you have to adapt to a new mechanics of the game, and another factor to maintain your flashlight's power instead of your power to your office, but also to adapt to how many animatronics there are and what each of those animatronics do. Now, this game unfortunately is known to be rather frustrating in the community, as with each night, more characters get introduced, which is fine until you get to night 2, and we get introduced to both Foxy and Balloon Boy. Now, how these characters work is Foxy needs to be flashed in the hallway whenever he appears, and he needs to be flashed until he goes away. But also, you cannot let Balloon Boy in your office by any circumstances. Otherwise, if Balloon Boy does come into your office, he takes your flashlight power away and doesn't allow you to flash Foxy. Now, this would not be an issue if the music box didn't exist, but unfortunately, it does. But it becomes more demanding the more nights you pass. But also, the mask doesn't work on Foxy or the puppet, so if you decide to keep the mask on the whole time, you're going to die by Foxy. Now, the reason this game is known to be frustrating is because Foxy gets introduced so early, but also on the 3rd night, most if not all the animatronics are now active, but their difficulty is put to the max. Now, I am a fan of difficulty in games, and especially on horror games nevertheless. However, in this game, it is for some reason, the difficulty in this game is put to a level that makes the game unfun to play, and to the point you're ripping your own hair out even on night 2. Another reason that this game is known to be frustrating is because, much like the first game, this game is RNG based. However, it's more RNG based than before, and you see it come to life as you have moments where you are dying to random things, or some of the nights will be easier or more difficult than the rest of the nights. For instance, you're on night 6 and you have to put your mask on, but Balloon Boy will not go away, and the music box needs to be wound. So you're given no choice but to allow Balloon Boy in your office so that you can wind up the music box, and now it's up to a 50-50 on if you're close to 6 AM or not, and you don't die to Foxy. Another example would have to be Golden Freddy showing up and you put on your mask, but unfortunately, you still die because of Foxy due to the fact that you didn't flash him enough. Or, you put on your mask when Golden Freddy appears, but you still die all because you accidentally flashed your flashlight before putting on your mask. Another issue that the game has is for some reason in night 6, we get introduced to Golden Freddy, which for some reason he can appear in your office at any given time, and you have to be quick on the draw whenever he does come into your office, and you have to put on your mask. Otherwise, it's a game over. Now, with all of these cons that I've mentioned, this shows just how difficult Fnaf can be if given the chance, which it set the stage for Fnaf, as it showed that as more games get made, the harder they will become, but also the more mechanics get put into the game. So, if you want a game that goes ahead and tests everything you know, and doesn't go ahead and give you modifiers or buffs like Ultimate Custom Night, then this game will be the game to see just how good of a security guard you truly are. Now, with every game of FNAF, the designs are consistent with each approach following a certain theme of the games. And with FNAF 2, that theme is the new versus the old. And I say this as the designs for the toy animatronics are supposed to be this new shiny tech and the new face of the pizzeria. But then, when you look at the withered animatronics, you see just how broken and forgotten but how terrifying they truly are. Characters like Withered Bonnie and Withered Chica are just perfect candidates of fitting that theme of broken and lost to time. The design for Withered Bonnie with his broken face and his arm being missing, and with Chica's broken jaw and hands that are taken off, just shows that just a few changes can make something truly scary. And in this game, the Withered animatronics just fit that. I would mention Foxy, but unfortunately his design, it's still withered, and in the first game he was already withered as it is, just some fixed parts here and there, but that's really about it. Now, as for the designs for the other animatronics, well, they are incredible as well as they are just simple but creepy at the same time. Characters like the Puppet, the Mangle, Golden Freddy, and even Foxy fit the theme that the game is trying to have, and it works as they are just terrifying to look at. Withered Bonnie especially fits the theme again, his design is just creepy but simple. That his design is by far the best in the series, coming in third behind Nightmare, Fredbear, and Spring. So, if you ever play FNAF and compare each of the designs with each game, know that each game is going to be polished and creepy with each of their characters' designs. Well, except FNAF 3 with Phantom Chica, or I should say, Watermelon Chica. Now, with FNAF 2's reputation as being a frustrating game, it might not have the same scary gameplay loop that the other games might have. However, it takes a certain element that made FNAF good and terrifying, which that element being the use of audio. With each release of the games, audio was slowly losing its value in the franchise, and the game started favoring only jump scares. However, FNAF 2 and FNAF 4 managed to balance the use of jump scares and the use of audio in a way that makes both of these games have a level of tension that feeds on your fear and making you panic as if the characters are stalking you, waiting for the perfect moment where you might mess up, and they're waiting for the moment to strike. Now, unfortunately with FNAF 2, it's hidden from us as, well, you are too distracted on focusing on the game because of how frustrating the game's difficulty makes for the player. And at the same time, we lose that element of tension and fear from playing altogether. However, if looked at carefully, then we get a game that is more terrifying than people would make it out to be. For example, when we are checking on the music box and things might seem fine at first, music starts to play in the hallways, echoing in your ears, warning you of the potential danger that might happen. Then, it only worsens from the laugh of Balloon Boy, echoing throughout the hallways of this pizzeria of fantasy and fun, filled with dread. Dread that only worsens with Foxy standing in the hallway, slowly but surely making his way to kill you. But then, when your flashlight stops working and it's just flickering, you panic and you put on the mask. But then you start to hear a noise in the vents. And then when you check, you see that Balloon Boy is there. But then, out of nowhere, another laugh happens. Now, even in death, you still get filled with fear, as if you get lucky enough to get a minigame, you get a odd yet uncanny noise playing in the background, as if the game is trying to tell you something, but you are still hung up on just what happened. But then, he appears, telling you you can't. However, the game doesn't stop there. But the use of the music in this game, it gives this feeling that something terrible has happened here. And unfortunately, it's going to happen again. That is the fear that Fnaf 2 makes. Audio that plays with your fear and emotions that makes you be filled with a level of dread and tension that many will not see when playing the game at first glance. But if you look at the game long enough, you start asking, what kind of game have I brought myself into? But more importantly, how deep will this franchise, or more importantly, Scott, would go to keep that feeling of dread?
Hide if you want. It did not save the others.
When it came to the first game, many will call it a kid's game. Even when going deeper into the lore, it didn't have much to tell, so it was only believed for FNAF 1 to be nothing more than to be a kid's game. For FNAF 2, however, that is a whole different tale that would keep many awake at night by just how terrifying and dark the lore is in this game. A game that as you keep playing it, the more you would shudder in fear as you learn what exactly this game is. The answer to that is a prequel. A prequel to an event that would change the story of FNAF and how horror developers would change their storytelling going forward, and a story that Scott was wanting to tell us, but also terrify us forever.
Hello. What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right. Listen, just finish your shift. It's safer than trying to leave in the middle of the night. We have one more event scheduled for tomorrow, a birthday. You'll be on day shift. Wear your uniform. Stay close to the animatronics and make sure they don't hurt anyone, okay? For now, just make it through the night. When the place eventually opens again, I'll probably take the night shift myself. Okay, good night and good luck.
This single phone call alone told us two things. The first was that this game was confirmed to be a prequel for the first game, but also it told us that the story for this franchise was now going down a dark path. After FNAF 2, we got the Springlock failure, the bite of the 83, the death of Elizabeth Afton, and even the security puppet minigame in FNAF 6 going deeper into the Give Cake to Kids minigame. Every game afterwards just had lore that continued going down a deeper hole than we thought it would. And with this game, that hole was already too deep. And I say this as the minigames themselves, like the Freddy minigame, the Free Roam Freddy minigame, the Foxy minigame, and even the Puppet minigame, tell us an even darker story than we thought it was going to be. A story about children losing their lives by an imposter, who later down the line, we come to know him as a madman, which, even after death, he would always find a way to come back and make us fear what he can do to us. But that doesn't end there. You see, there was a trend a few months back, and, well, it had to do with the designs with the withered animatronics, and that trend being was, what if the designs for the withered animatronics represented how the kids died. Think on that for a second. That trend is by far the most disturbing thing to think about as well. If you've seen the designs for the withered animatronics, then you would come to understand and imagine just how that looks. Especially since withered Bonnie and withered Chica exist. And if you really, when I say this, you really do not want to sleep at night, then you could put withered Foxy in there as well. Now, with all this in mind, this showed just how cool the purple guy could be, but more importantly, it shows just how more of a monster he truly is. A monster who, later down the line, we will learn that he used kids like lab rats, that to the point that he even used his own son as a test subject, which was revealed in Sister Location. Which, another key fact is that Sister Location, that entire location, was pretty much Afton's way to capture kids, because if you go and look at the secret blueprints that you can see in the game files for all the characters, you can see that there are specific things that each animatronic does. And unfortunately, if you look at Funtime Freddy, then you can see that there is a small kid already inside him. This man destroyed so many lives just to reach his twisted goals. A man blinded by ambition that he destroyed countless of families, and even his own family to get what he wants, and even his own business partner's life by killing Charlie. A man with no soul. A man who will not stop creating chaos even in death. Even if Cassidy is torturing him, he will still find a way to come back and make everything into a constant chaotic place for everyone. The man behind the slaughter.
Will consume
Now,
you.
that is all for me for now. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you want more content like this, then please consider subscribing for more horror content like this in the near future. Now, I will see you all in the next one. Take care, and God